Serious, what is a sign of depression that most people do not notice until it is too late? Asterisk asterisk attention. Serious tag notice. Asterisk jokes, puns, and off-topic comments are not permitted. In asterisk asterisk any asterisk asterisk comment. Parent or child. Asterisk. Parent comments that aren't from the target group will be removed, along with their child replies. Asterisk report comments that violate these rules. Posts that have few relevant answers within the first hour, and posts that are not appropriate for the serious tag will be removed. Consider doing an AMA request instead. Thanks for your cooperation and enjoy the discussion. Asterisk I am a bot, and this action was performed automatically. Please contact the moderators of this subreddit, /message/compose/to=r/r/askreddit if you have any questions or concerns. Lack of emotion. We think of depression as sadness, but it can just as easily be a kind of exhausting boredom. This is what I came to say. You're just so tired of having to exist, since it requires doing so many things to simply do that. Keep a job to make money, pay bills, maintain the flesh sack, when everything feels so pointless, since you haven't felt any sense of joy in so long. Brushing your teeth isn't just brushing your teeth. It's standing up, walking to the bathroom, locating toothbrush, locating toothpaste, wetting toothbrush, applying toothpaste, and then the most daunting, brushing your teeth thoroughly, spitting, rinsing, putting it all back, willing mouth, and having to walk all the way back to where you were sitting and laying. I know my depression is getting into the danger zone when I go from crying way too much to being entirely indifferent most of the time, and if any emotion surfaces, it's anger when something as simple as, great, the toilet paper roll is out and the rest are in the closet 3 feet away. How am I supposed to freaking handle a single second of this longer? Starts happening. That was going to be my response. So vertical bar arranger over mundane everyday life stuff. That was going to be my response. So vertical bar arranger over mundane everyday life stuff. The constant feeling of I need to get out of here. The need to get out of here is a huge one for me. I have this overwhelming urge to run away from everything. I have had that need to get out of here surface quite a bit over the last few years. Before my divorce I was pretty content and appreciative of life. That turned to I'm picking a direction and driving until I get tired. Usually ended up at the beach. Slept in my car a few times. Was actually a great escape sometimes. I am remarried and dealing with custody stuff now though. It still flares up, but I tend to limit my need to get away to riding my electric scooter around the paved trails. I need to get the hell out of here, but have no ideas or desires of where I want to go. I need to get the hell out of here, but have no ideas or desires of where I want to go. Don't wanna be here. Yep, that's me. The silliest inconveniences make me want to ram something through a wall. I once heard that depression is anger turned inward. This hits way too fucking close to home. Depression is something I have struggled with for pretty much my entire life, but never did anything about. The first thing to go is hygiene for me. I stop brushing, shower every couple of days. Tell myself that is fine. Stop shaving. Stop buying new clothes. Stop doing chores. Just cease anything productive. For anyone struggling, see a therapist. I finally just started maybe a month ago. Best decision I ever made. Holy cow. This is me right now. Holy cow. This is me right now. DN. My feelings towards brushing teeth always indicate my current level on depression. I always brush, but during good times it is something I just do in passing, and during bad times, it just takes so much energy. Perfectly described. It all boils down to the question, what is the point of doing it? And you get mixed into a dangerous soup called everything is pointless. It's awesome / essential / useful to recognize those early warning signs. The state of my car's interior / exterior cleanliness is my early warning sign. Not that I'm obsessed with my car, not really a car guy or anything. But it's the first thing I let slide when I'm feeling overwhelmed / depressed. It's pretty much the least essential bit of personal orderliness / cleanliness. you know, so always the first to go. Like if I only have the energy to clean only any thing, it will be my room, etc. Car is always skippable. If you stop doing laundry, it's a problem. If your bathroom becomes a toxic waste dump, that's a problem. If your car is a mess, well, that's almost never a problem. So that's my canary in a coal mine. Does it help when I notice it? Kinda. I tell my partner it's a good warning sign though. I might say I'm not struggling, but if the car is a mess. *IMSTRUGGLING*. Would love to hear others. Going to sound a bit daft, but often the first early warning sign is that I change the music I'm listening to. I love music and most of the time it's a mixture of lots of different genres. Some happy, some sad. Whole range of emotions. If I find myself only listening to stuff with Docker lyrics for a number of days then it's often a sign that I'm becoming unwell again. Bonus points if it's the only thing I feel any emotional response to. It seems to happen before I start to neglect myself / housework etc. Took me a couple of decades to recognize that there is a pattern. But it's been really helpful once I did. God, do I understand that. I went through a period of deep depression in which I literally got exhausted from taking a shit in the morning. I don't mean to be vulgar, just to show something new, and I and every other person who's dealt. God, do I understand that. I went through a period of deep depression in which I literally got exhausted from taking a shit in the morning. I don't mean to be vulgar, just to show something new, and I and every other person who's dealt with depression already knows the simple act of being in your body is prohibitively tiring. During one of my worst bouts with depression, a buddy just randomly showed up one night. He dealt with depression himself and knew I was in a bad state. He said something to me I still remember. You know your depression is lifting, that things are getting better when you can appreciate a good morning dump. Crude, but deeper than it sounds. When you can enjoy a simple act that makes you feel a bit better, you're doing better. Depression makes us forget all the little things that make life okay to go through, and not just boredom. It's utter apathy, a big empty hole of complete nothingness. Every thought you have is flat. I can look at my partner, who I'm wildly in love with. It makes me feel crazy. You would think I would feel something, but it's just entirely numb. I don't have that so much. It is everything else. I used to love my job. I give zero fucks about it now. It is a paycheck. I'd quit tomorrow if I could. I used to love learning new things. Now I get overwhelmed within minutes of trying something new and give up. Nothing seems worth the effort. When a wave hits me, that becomes should I even care? All the effort I put into life so far has ultimately gotten me nowhere. Nothing matters. Existence is pointless. Everything is stupid. Oh, yep. I had an episode of depression while living in Egypt. I had gone there to study Arabic and I loved the country. The hospitable people, the amazing history, the beautiful architecture, and getting to communicate in this beautiful language every day. I should have been in heaven, and yet I avoided people. I couldn't pay attention in my classes. I was always tired, and there were a scary number of times when I would look down from a high rise, and everything just took on a leaden grayness. It's the example I always go to when someone who hasn't experienced depression just thinks it's a kind of sadness you can snap out of. There was no snapping out of that. I'm in and out of this situation for almost 10 years. It's like time is senseless. That I'm not living, but just looking the time slowly pass by. Every day is the same day, and you just feel so tired every time. And you know that something is wrong, that you have to move and do something. Anything to get better, but is so hard. Like chains weighing you down. This pandemic just made all so much worse for me. I don't know more what is to truly be happy, or sad or anything anymore. Any emotion is numb and ephemeral. I doubled my medication, but apparently it's not effective in me anymore. It will be months before I get a new medication to work. I know because it's not the first time that this happens. The entire process of trying new medication is so awful, I always hate it. I'm sorry, it's just that your post really touched me, and I just needed to vent. Memory loss. Nothing serious, but if you start to really not be able to tell days apart and life is blurring, especially moments that should been memorable. Might be depressed. My mom asks me if I remember things from when I was a teenager and I genuinely don't. She gets upset that I don't care about this person she mentioned, but I really don't remember them. I don't remember my childhood at all. My parents always joke that I just must have been oblivious. Yeah, 100% it's crazy. I vaguely remember things from my teenage years, not even clear pictures. Just a sense of what happened. Also, there was a point in my life where I was somewhat recovering and I could remember clearly some of my memories, and it was very nice. I guess it gives me something to look forward to. Hang in there, I'm the same. I'm 27 and barely remember anything from most of my life. Just key events or something major that happened. I have been suffering badly with depression for just over a year now from when I split up with my ex-fiancée. I'm the same. I'm 27 and barely remember anything from most of my life. Just key events or something major that happened. I have been suffering badly with depression for just over a year now from when I split up with my ex-fiancée, but now I'm starting to wonder if there is more to it. Why does this hit home? I can't tell if I did STH today, yesterday or never. The only thing I find joyful is being with my friends, which is rare. My week is defined by gym, leg day, rest, gym, maybe gym. 2 days Netflix and sleep, repeat. I do not care if it is Monday or Thursday for you. Let me get this shit job over with. Get 90 minutes of pure nothingness into my head and then go home and be sad again. It is terrible and feels insane, but I truly do not look at a calendar. I just define myself by one activity which helps me somewhat to escape. There are things that I wish I could remember from my life, but I can't. Even the past few years are blurry, and the memories I do have require a picture or memento to bring them back to the surface. Even the past few years are blurry, and the memories I do have require a picture or memento to bring them back to the surface. Sometimes you're not sad, you're just nothing. The nothingness is so tiresome as well. Like, why I got free time, what to do, and I spend 4 hours just watching YouTube videos and skipping them, not actually watching it. I feel like my free time is just lying in bed watching the first few minutes of a YouTube video and then losing interest and trying to find the next one, feeling as though you're invisible, that you're on the outside looking in at life, but not part of it. When I was in grad school, I became completely invisible. I finally took a medical leave in December of that year and joined back in a year later. My old classmates said they thought I left in September of that year. Sometimes we feel invisible because we are invisible. Feeling numb. Not feeling sadness, joy when you should feel joy. You just feel like an empty, tired vessel devoid of purpose. I once described it as waiting to die. I'm not suicidal, but I'm not living either. It's just going through the motions until it's finally over. Not living, just waiting to die. I told my psychiatrist that I don't want to or have plans to kill myself, but I do want to be dead. Lack of interest in things you used to enjoy. That one hit me the worst, cause I used to play games daily, then suddenly for no explicable reason I did not even want to consider playing another game, and did not for months straight cause they felt like a chore to me. I go through the same RN, but I lack motivation and will to change. Fatter is more for accomplishers who usually aims to beat a game. I am one of them. And it is not like we just want to beat it then get to the next one. Enjoying the journey or slash in the story is hella important. And even when it ends, the good moments can stay as great memories for life. Not to mention the people who play games with no real ending like Minecraft, or those who mainly play with friends. They can keep playing a game for years without feeling like they need to move on. It is really all about how you enjoy it, worrying that nobody likes you, and it's all a facade. OMG, the self-doubt, the paranoia, and that feeling of being utterly alone even in a room of friends. I really feel this one to my core. As someone who has been bullied a lot in middle and high school, I feel this in my bones, even when I am pretty well liked at work or have friends. I worry that people are just tolerating me. I hate this so much. When I meet people, they are really intrigued by me. It has been that way even before my depression. However, now I feel like it is all fake and it is not sincere. I begin to doubt who sees me for me. I really just don't want to give a fuck. But that little demon keeps telling me otherwise. It's a lie as old as time. Depression tells us all sorts of the stuff that are not true. But to not disregard the ones who do. Yeah, I have this. I can have the best time out with my friends, and the moment I stop and go home I get the overwhelming feeling that they all hate me. For me it is in reverse. My friends will invite me somewhere and I'll go. But I'll spend half an hour driving around trying to find parking because I am afraid I'll go inside and they'll be saying horrible things about me. And it has never ever been true. One time I walked past the window of the bar where we were supposed to meet up and my friend caught a glimpse of me through the window and screamed so loud I could hear her outside. I was barely through the door before she was giving me a big drunken bear hug. But I still have to talk myself into believing that my friends are my friends for a reason and that they do not invite me places just so they can a dinner for smooks o me. That's one that I've always noticed. When I'm in a good place, when I'm in a bad place, I tend to analyze all my interactions over and over until I'm convinced that I made a complete ass of myself. Even when I'm doing it, I know I'm making something out of nothing. But it's hard to shake the feeling. When I'm in a bad place, I tend to analyze all my interactions over and over until I'm convinced that I made a complete ass of myself. Even when I'm doing it, I know I'm making something out of nothing. But it's hard to shake the feeling. A complete turnaround in attitude. One day your friend is just perpetually down in the dumps. They go out less, eat worse and have a hard time socializing. The one day, they do a complete 180. They're laughing, smiling, being incredibly generous with things like gift givings, and telling people how much they mean to them. Then the next day you find them dead from suicide. That turnaround was them making peace they were going to kill themselves. Yup, this exactly. Making amends. Giving away cherished belongings. Calling old friends. Etc. Gives me goosebumps in the worst way. So important to understand and identify this before they act. This is really weird, but it's part of why I'm scared to sell some of my stuff. I have a bunch of ultimately useless stuff. Figures and collectibles and stuff. Some pretty valuable. I've been thinking about selling a lot of it, but part of what's keeping me alive is the deep desire to not inconvenience or negatively impact other people's lives. If I were to sell or give away everything, that would be one less thing giving me a reason, no matter how dumb, to continue on. If you know a friend is depressed, sudden generosity is a huge red flag. People know they don't need stuff when they are dead, so suddenly they will start giving expensive things. Or even things with high emotional value to them. I mentioned this. I call it clarity. I went through the same when I tried to overdose. My mum caught me in the act and made me throw up. Obviously something you shouldn't do, but now I'm an adult I totally understand why she did it. It's the worst feeling ever. I have been there, but made it through. And the peace of knowing that your pain have a deadline, literally, is so liberating. It's scary because I never liked that before or after. And in a way, I want to feel like that again. Depression is a unmerciful bitch. Being tired, even when you have slept a decent amount of time. Eating more or less than usual. Getting bored more easily. Anhedonia, the inability to take pleasure even in things you used to enjoy. This is a big one. Oh man, I feel that. Before I got on meds for my depression I could not enjoy any video games anymore. You just add a go through the mortion so of life that you are used to being miserable. What hit me this morning is I realized shit's not gonna get better and I don't really care if it does. It is like purgatory. This, even going beyond not caring. Not giving a damn that you don't care. Not cleaning or looking after yourself. Joking or talking about suicide often. Self-depreciating humor. Becoming withdrawn. Self-isolation. Erratic or irrational behavior. As someone who's been fighting a losing battle with depression for years I can confidently say. It's often like you're a fucking ghost that no one listens to, especially those closest to you. Reframe that. I see someone winning that battle against depression. You're here. Offering insight and helping others from your experience. Depression might get the better during some rounds, but as long as you keep getting up and doing something however little slash simple slash small it might seem, then you're not losing. As someone who went through some dark forests and am lucky to still be here, I understand how you're feeling. It may mean nothing as I'm a random stranger on the internet. But if you need someone to talk to, so you don't feel like a ghost, feel free to message me. This. Absolutely this. And having seen this situation as an outsider looking in, it can develop so slowly that you don't even realize it's happened until things are too far gone. The isolating and irrational behavior amped up so gradually that it was hard to see what was happening and easy to rationalize away as a bad day when in hindsight they were clear warning signs. This entire thread is like a red flag for my life. Yeah. I had to scroll pretty far on this list to find something that did not feel like it described me. The toothbrushing thing. Probably. Similar things include not keeping up with regular habits slash checkups. Like maybe you would cut your hair every month, but now it's like meh, I could go with this for longer and now it's been 3 months. With regard to the Aruntal I'd say social withdrawal. I had tons of friends in college and then experienced a pretty bad depressive episode that lasted a while. My friends kept inviting me places or trying to contact me and I'd turn them down or ignore their messages. I was just so tired all the time. Eventually the invites dwindled and the messages stopped coming in. Understandably so. Once I found myself on the other side of things and in a much better place. There was only a small handful of people left in my life outside of my family members. I have never really recovered my social circle. I have tried reaching out to people and apologizing for my behavior, and they say they understand and that it is okay, but things are never the same. It is really hard to get friendships back after letting them go. This all happened to me after freshman year of college. Still have like 2 sort of friends only. I miss having a friend group. Not sure it's for everyone. But I've been using the app Meetup to find events where everyone is generally a stranger. For example, a running meetup where we run and then hang out in a public setting afterward. I don't try to push becoming friends or getting anyone's number, but I'm in a similar place as you describe, and I think it's a good start. It certainly feels nice to socialize. When doing anything feels like multitasking, because you're also having to breathe while doing it. I've cried because I couldn't watch TV, because not only did I not care at all about anything, it also was exhausting and felt like a waste of my energy and time to have to look at the screen and pay attention. I feel this so hard. Solidarity, friend. You will feel too lazy to go out. You may think that it's normal, but it's the beginning. True. Withdrawing from activities and visiting friends. Yes, withdrawing is a big one a lot of people miss. Just not answering the phone. Calls and messages shorter. Declining to go anywhere with people. Going through day-to-day life thinking, this would be a lot easier if I was just not a lever. I have solid reasons not to die, but nothing to live for. It's almost like I'm obligated to live. Leaning more and more into dopamine spike behaviors, even if it decreases your overall quality of life. Drinking, binge eating, playing video games, overspending money, sex, etc. When you can't feel pleasure anymore in your daily life, you'll end up trying to self-medicate with quick fixes to the point of self-destruction. I don't think I'm clinically depressed, but gosh, I feel this these days. I'm having a low period, and I find myself browsing eBay and Etsy quite often, trying to find something cool to buy, before snapping out of it, and remembering I shouldn't waste my money. I've known 3 people now who had reputations for always appearing happy, who were always clowning around and making others laugh, but yet attempted suicide. All 3 were obviously serious attempts, and 2 of them succeeded. So it seems to me that appearing almost excessively happy all the time is something that can be easily overlooked as possibly a bad sign. Also, becoming suddenly happy is a huge sign of a serious, not cry for help, suicide attempt. In the near future, basically it happens because the person realizes they have a way out of the hole they are in. They have a plan and they know how to execute it. Often accompanied by giving away some things and making plans for pets, etc. If you know someone who is depressed and overnight they flip to being happy, talk to them. As a man, I can agree to that. I think most men are raised like me to keep your shit, emotions, problems, mental or health problems, for yourself. If you're out with friends you put that stuff in a box, but at one point it is too much for you to handle, and that's when I tried to kill myself. In high school, I dated a bit but a guy who was funny, charming, could talk to anyone, and he had attempted suicide 3 times. I was young and dumb, and thought our love will fix this. In high school, I dated a bit but a guy who was funny, charming, could talk to anyone, and he had attempted suicide 3 times. I was young and dumb, and thought our love will fix this. Medication and therapy did. I read somewhere that when a person makes the decision to check out, they get happy, because they know their pain is ending. I do not know how true it is, but it makes sense to me. So, if someone you know has been depressed and suddenly becomes happy, be aware, this is true. Another part of the phenomenon is that when a person is very depressed, they have the motivation to act on suicidal thoughts, but not the energy. As they are on the way out of the deep depression, the energy can return. While they are still having moments of suicidal ideation, it's often a high-risk time when people are starting to feel better. I no longer have any close friends because I just don't really speak to anyone anymore. I am at the point where I have isolated myself to the point that even if I opened up, there would be nobody there to hear. Nobody talks about the aspect of hiding away from everyone. I go to college for 3 days and am super social and bubbly. The days I'm alone are so depressing and crushing that I feel like a Thero's lead plate in my chest, poisoning me. I try to reach out, but I can barely hold a conversation. Mental health services are okay, but at this point all I do is work on my bed sores. I have no energy, and the days I do nobody wants to hang out anyway. It is getting worse and worse, but it is okay. I have fallen deeper than this before and come back. It is just something that happens. I was at this exact place 2 years ago, and I had to drop out of college because I had no energy to go to class or do the work. I describe that period in my life like I was in a glass box with pounds and pounds of pressure on me, pushing me down. But I couldn't get out, and no one could hear me. I think the worst part about depression is that it makes you think you're completely alone, and no one understands what you're going through. But I found, however morbid it may be, that talking out exactly how I'm feeling, the apathy, the suicidal thoughts, how I'd kill myself, helped a lot more than people telling me it will get better. And not all therapists have been there. All that to say, if you want to talk, literally about anything, you can reach out to me. It might be nice to tell a complete stranger how you feel. No judgment, close bracket. I'm in that same situation. I have friends I considered my very best friends, who I have known for over 20 years, that I haven't spoken to in 5+ years. No falling out, no recent fights, no hostility, just a lack of effort. I have maybe 2 people I talk to anymore outside of work, and it's just text. I haven't seen any friends in just as long. There's also the perpetual feeling that if I reach out to someone, I'm bothering them. It's impossible to shake the feeling that nobody would actually want to hang out and would only do it out of pity, obligation. Irrational. Sure, but it's a thought process that simply does not go away. Not complaining anymore. It is usually when people stop caring, which is dangerous for someone with depression. What's the point of complaining? No one gives a shit anyway. I know the feeling. The trick is to find people who do give a shit. Someone out there does. Edit. Typo. Getting easily irritated and forgetting a lot of stuff. I also noticed that I and people with depression around me express a lot of jealousy of others, even for silly things. The anger is such a good example. Simple or even small things that should pass make people blow up. Not being able to muster the desire to wash your hair. Letting rubbish build up. Cutting off contact. Losing interest in things you really used to enjoy. Staring blankly at the wall wondering why you exist. Immersing yourself in fantasies to escape reality. Zoning out completely when spoken to. Having no feeling when having conversations with others. Horrible sleeping habits. Sleeping too much. Sleeping too little. drinking more, abusing medications. It can get to those dark places fast, and it's such a struggle to climb out from. Most of what I've written I've experienced in my depressive episodes. Keep talking though. Keep asking and trying to understand it. Signs that I displayed. Loss and all lack of feelings towards immediate family/friends. Become so numb with the lack any feelings or empathy. Inability to be around or talk to people. Just wanting to withdraw and put myself back onto my black hole. My version of that is wanting to crawl into the back of a dark closet under a pile of blankets and forget the world exists. I know this from experience. You accept to live in filth. Your mind has convinced you it is easier to live in and smell the filth rather than to clean it up. You know you should clean, but you don't it. You believe it is easier to live in it because it is easier to do that than to look at it and clean it and fix it. That is the biggest thing that drives you to the end. You know you live in it. You smell it every day you wake up and walk back through the door, but depression has beaten you to such the point that you feel life is easier just living in it. That is where it all starts. From there your energy gets screwed up. You get sick. Your mind starts down this very dark path until well the person decided it is easier not to exist. Sadly it's too hard to tell when people have severe depression unless people open up. A lot of really bad depression is hidden so well so it's not to just come across attention seeking. Trouble is people that feel this way often have no one to open up to. Sometimes they don't even know. I'm experiencing most of these signs and the replies. Should I be worried? Worried? Maybe. Modern society tends to create these sorts of feelings, so it can be hard to separate transient, ennui, sadness, or apathy from clinical depression. Generally, if it lasts for a long time, measured in weeks, or is severe, thoughts of suicide or longing for death in your sleep, or that you just cease to exist, is when you need to take immediate action. The irony of the disease is that it can be very hard to muster the effort to do it. And the stigma/ignorance around it is that your concerns can be dismissed, which makes getting help so much harder. If things you used to enjoy no longer appeal to you with nothing that replaced them or with no explanation. If you just feel bland and grey constantly. If you have no energy and even simple tasks seem draining or insurmountable. You should consider talking to someone for more details or a diagnosis. To piggyback off of this, even if you determine you're showing any of these symptoms, it's also possible that the depression itself is a symptom of something else. Depression is also a symptom that people with ADHD can present. This is why it is important, if you're able to get a professional diagnosis to ensure what you have is depression or something else that results in depression. Lack of hygiene. This one is very true. When doing daily upkeep on yourself goes from routine to a struggle, you're headed for some trouble. If you're a daily shower and you find yourself skipping days, you may want to evaluate yourself for other depression symptoms. Weight loss. Last year's I got RLY depressed. I could barely eat. Or weight gain. Gained like 30 to 40 pounds again because eating helps when I am down. Sorry this is long. I'm really struggling right now. It's not a comment on depression but attempting suicide. This is also my personal opinion, since I've tried a couple different ways. People say it's an easy way out. That's complete and utter bullshit. The amount of mental and emotional energy put into is almost indescribable. It's not easy. You cry yourself to sleep, feel so alone, so worthless, just thinking that all your friends and family are better off without you. You don't want to burden anyone. So you're stuck with these thoughts of, oh, that knife might do it, or I wonder if I can chug a bottle of Drano. After you try and fail, it's kinda like a zombie state. You're just there, everything is complete autopilot. Nothing feels good or bad. You're just there for a few days till you can recover emotionally. Just going through the motions, forcing yourself to eat, hydrate, shower. Nothing matters. Edit. Thank you all for reaching out. I do appreciate it very much. And it's one of those things, being there I could subtly see signs in people thinking about it. I would not want anyone, even if completely hate them, to feel this way. Even when I was surrounded by family I felt so completely alone. Fuck. Buddy, you've got a bad case going right now. I've gone down that road, and you are entirely right. Those days after you fail are surreal. If. Tell somebody and try to find some sources of help. I won't give you the cliches about other people being hurt by you doing it, because that's not fair. I just hate knowing you are where I was, and maybe again. All I can say is I'm so sorry you are feeling like this, and I hope something gives you a glimmer of hope to show you a way out. /manly. Internet hug. Getting so anxious that I'm rooted to my bed, sensitive to light and loud noises. Hide under the sheets the whole day and do nothing. Everything makes me anxious BTW. I've started to do a new thing where I'm picking my skin all the time too. Never can think straight. Colors are dimmer. It's kind of like looking at the world through a fog. Edit. I thought of more things. As I said, I can't really think. But I'm very unhygienic. My room looks like utter crap. I also can't stand to be around people. So much anxiety. And although we are talking about this so much, I still feel that as a society we can't comprehend how serious this disease is. I feel handicapped, for the lack of a better word, for all intents and purposes. Edit. No. 2. The most important self-sabotage. My depression is deceptive as hell. It has caused me to miss work, miss assignments, miss school, miss out on having friends, and forces me just be mindless all day. But I still constantly tell myself that I'm lying, that I'm overreacting, that other people have had it so much harder and here I'm wasting my life away, that I'm lazy, stupid, and like avoiding my stuff just for kicks. This makes me stop my meds time and time again. Because I completely convince myself that I'm faking it, that it's my fault and a person like me shouldn't have the right to make friends and have opportunities. I tell myself all sorts of lies about myself. And so spiral even deeper in apathy, loss of appetite, weight loss. I did not know I was depressed until my kidneys started to fail from starvation. My brain was so unhealthy that I did not even realize my clothes were hanging off of me because I had lost 30 pounds that I did not really have to lose. I always thought depression meant having sad and negative feelings. I did not realize it could present as severe apathy, being bored all the time, not enjoying most of the things you used to, being more tired than usual, and struggling to concentrate. Gradual loss of motivation to do literally anything. Memory loss. Your own brain gaslights you into thinking you have a much more serious problem than just depression, and the people closest to you think you're being an asshole that is purposely choosing to ignore things that happened in the past. You don't have a tumor. You're not an asshole. You just have big sadder sense. I can relate to a lot of these. And never considered the fact that I might have depression before. I guess maybe I should look it up. Starting to have these invasive thoughts surrounding death and how life is so ***king meaningless. Not like I'm suicidal or anything. But after a while, it starts becoming stifling. I figured it was maybe because of my typical loneliness and lack of pleasant and various activities, besides drawing, when I could get my mind out of it. So basically my mind would start overthinking. Strangely enough, I would be that one guy who would say he's just fine and wouldn't even consider himself as depressed a few months ago. But then it started happening till I realized how it was downing my mood. I also started being more and more tired. Like a part of me was dying. Nobody would notice it because I was covering the whole thing with caffeine. And I'm not being very expressive regarding this type of issues usually. Being mean. When I was depressed I was incredible mean and lashed out a lot. I am very sorry for my behavior and I have learned from it, but I wish people knew it was because of my depression. Having a hard time concentrating on whatever it is you do. People don't realize that very depressed people can hide it. They can be making plans with but in their heads they have decided on a different plan. It is not just one event that drives them to the edge of suicide. They may start pulling away, let their hygiene slip, sleep more/less, lose interest in hobbies and outings, lose appetite. They may cut contact slowly. When I lost my daughter last year I knew she was getting worse. She was at her father's, but I could see the signs. She was not leaving her room much, not answering calls/texts, not eating much, not showering every day. There was no structure to her day. Normally, we were very close. but she started pulling away from me the last couple months. A while after her funeral, I checked out her Discord. Her messages were all normal. She did not say one word that would make anyone suspect something. In the past, when Shellers felt suicidal, she would reach out. She would let me, her friends, or her brother know. But she did not want to be helped the last time. She had her mind made up. So, my advice would be watching for socializing decreasing, not practicing normal levels of activity. Hygiene. Appetite. They may be angry when you suggest help. Don't give up. I'll always wish I had done more. Risking their anger may be necessary. I had told my ex we needed to take her to her psychiatrist or the hospital. He said I was evil and cruel. We lost her the next night. Trust your gut. Most of all, let them know you love them and need them. Suicide just spreads the pain around to the people who loves them most. 24/7 happiness. When I was at my lowest, in the outside I looked like the most happy human on earth. Nobody is that happy. You have tops and lows. There are days where you get up angry, sad, upset because some inconvenience happened, and that is human. Usually the Soropoyo facade involves a huge wall and an aisle to open up. If you notice this in your close circle, please approach them and tell them that you appreciate them and you'll be there for support anytime. Also, depression can also cause lack of hygiene. Daily tasks feel huge, and in the end, why should you shower if you are worthless? And the last one that my parents noticed was substance abuse. It does not matter if it is legal, drugs like alcohol or illegal drugs. I looked for the comfort of alcohol and others to see if I was able to feel something. I usually drink, but in that times I could drink a full gin bottle myself and continue. In my experience, fear of everyday things is a big sign of depression or anxiety, jealousy, and or disliking people you do not know very well. Similarly, wanting to be social, but justifying not being social with the people around you because they are flawed. Fear of trying new things because you expect to fail at a going with the flow where instead of asserting yourself, your needs, your wants. It can also be the opposite. You can only allow things to go your way and you have to berate others into doing it. People having a more positive image of you than you have of yourself. Finally, if you tell someone with authority in your life, parents, family, teachers, etc., that you are depressed, and they do not seem to do anything to help you, and you take this to be okay, because no one should pay attention to you, that is a sign that you need to be more assertive. No real access to their own emotions. If you see somebody has an emotional vocabulary, that's basically binary. How are you? Good/bad. Assume they're a lot more prone to depression. Can't process what you can't even describe. Treating your body like absolute garbage. I am not just talking about eating junk food and not working out, but pushing your body to its absolute limit in a bad way, in a way that leaves you injured. But you just don't care enough to take proper care of yourself. A symptom I don't see mentioned a lot, but one I have had to deal with personally, physical pain. It was like I had suddenly developed full body arthritis. My mind felt okay, but my body was in a painful revolt. I did not know what was happening the first time, and ended up under the care of a rheumatologist. I was on a lot of anti-inflammatories that did nothing to help. It was not until the pain went away, but my mind failed, and I became suicidal. Did I recognize the pain for what it was? I recently experienced another episode of this pain after giving birth to my second child. Tried the anti-inflammatory meds again, and when they did not help, I remembered my first experience. Thankfully my doctor listened to me and promptly put me on an antidepressant. My physical symptoms disappeared in a week, and now I can focus on working on my mental health without being overwhelmed by pain. Irritability. You are annoyed with most everything, and your brain tells you that everyone and everything is being annoying. You get into arguments and you don't really understand why. Recklessness. I know I'm getting depressed when I get reckless. To the outside it might look like I'm fun and having a good time and do exciting things, but in reality, I've given up, thinking nothing matters anyways. So why not do X, Y and Z? Usually I'm very cautious, so it's a good indicator for me. People begin giving things away or go around mending bridges. My best friend in high school killed himself. We were in a fight at the time and him and I took a walk. Talked out our beef. Get this. It was over a girl. And at the end he told me the thing I was best at was being a friend. I was ecstatic. I thought we had salvaged what until that point seemed a broken friendship. He stood in front of a train shortly after. To this day I don't know if he was actually forgiving me or being incredibly cruel before he went. Personally, I used to help out people a lot just to make sure they didn't suffer when I myself was struggling with depression. If terms of Arunculiters to Lato, then definitely watch out for depressed people who magically seem to have overcome their depression overnight. Often people who have decided to commit suicide feel peace and elation because they know their problems will be over soon.